Welcome to another episode of Pizain's podcast. I am your host, Pizain the Pizain. This is actually take 2 on my podcast. I just did 20 minutes and none of it came through. My audio was all fucked up. And so now it's fixed. We can try this again. Who knows? Maybe it'll come up better now that I've had a dry run of all of how this is going to go. Before I get to anything, don't forget to subscribe, follow, download Pizain's podcast, Three Bozos, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcast from. We really appreciate it. Love the support. Starting to have a small cult following, I've noticed. It's humble beginnings, but hopefully we will have a large and in charge following before you know it. So, before I get into everything news related, I always start with something going on in Pizain the Pizain's life. And unfortunately, I don't really got much to say about today. It was kind of a boring day. I had a bunch of work stuff. I don't really like to talk about work stuff on here. Got home, had a lovely salmon dinner. The wife prepared. Had rice and some cauliflower with some new seasonings. It was delicious. The toddler was a little bit of a butthead and he wouldn't eat right, but it's okay. He got some meals into him. So instead of focusing on what's new with me, let me tell you a story. And of course it involves my toddler because, well, he is my whole life now, whether I like it or not. We have been potty training him, as I've mentioned in previous podcasts. On this particular night, he was sitting on his potty. It was about 30 minutes before his usual bedtime, and he pee-peed in the potty. He had been drinking a lot of water at that time, as he is a human camel. Always drinking, so always stays well hydrated. It's better than not drinking water, I have to say. Well, we thought he was going to go pee-pee again because that's what he does. He drinks a lot of water and goes pee-pee, and then he goes pee-pee like 2 seconds after that. I made the tragic mistake of looking away for 2 seconds as a notification came across my phone. As I looked away, like the Flash, like Barry Allen, he picked up his potty and threw the golden liquid all over Daddy, from head to toe, dripping with that yellow stank. Then he throws his arms up like, "What you gonna do about it, bitch?" And I just sat there frozen. What was I gonna do about it? He's right. I was his bitch. He's a toddler. Not like I can yell at him. Not like I can spank him. I don't really want to spank him anyway. I want to try different kinds of, discipline. But he did what we asked him. He pee-peed in the potty. And then he got tired of sitting there and he threw it at Daddy. And then he thought it was funny and tried me. Made me his bitch. Old toddler. Can't wait till the day he's old enough I can discipline him and he understands it. Anywho, on to the news. We're going to try things a little differently today. I'm going to focus on just like 2, maybe 3 stories and just kind of really dig in deep on those because, well, honestly, 1440, my normal news source, kind of sucks this week. I don't really like any of the stories. Plus, I don't know, sometimes I'll just go to a story and be like, oh, this is good. I mean, I got to give you guys a little bit more of a commentary than that. So let's start off with the head story on AP News involving everyone's favorite ex-president and likely future president, Donald J. Trump. Prosecutor focuses on cover-up in closing arguments while defense attacks key witness. Oh my. Donald Trump engaged in a conspiracy and a cover-up, a prosecutor told jurors during closing arguments Tuesday in the former president's hush money trial, while a defense lawyer branded the star witness as the greatest liar of all time and pressed the panel for an across-the-board acquittal. The lawyers' dueling accounts wildly divergent in their assessment of witness credibility, and the strength of evidence offered both sides one final chance to score points with the jury before it starts deliberating the first felony case against a former American president. No, not the felony case of Bill Clinton raping multiple women. I mean, allegedly raping multiple women. No, not Bill Clinton being on all the Epstein logs and going to Pedo Island many, many times. No, none of that. No, what we have is Donald J. Trump facing 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, charges punishable by up to 4 years in prison because he allegedly banged a porn star and used alleged campaign funds to make it go away in the media. He might face 4 years in prison. Now, I bet you're wondering, wow, for something that happened so long ago, why is it that just now we're getting to the court case of it? And why is it that he's being prosecuted in other states and cities like Atlanta? That one's probably going to get pushed back till after the presidency, so that probably is just going to fizzle out. And then you have the one where he falsified the value of Mar-a-Lago to get a better rate from the bank. Something that nobody else does who's rich as fuck. Especially people who have been persecuting him in the media about it, like Jon Stewart. He definitely doesn't do that either. So, again, you have to ask yourself, why this year? Well, what is happening later this year? Oh, yeah. It's the fucking presidency is going to be determined in November. And now he can't go campaign. And it's kind of sickening. It's obvious a weaponization of judicial system to politically motivated to keep a presidential nominee from running for president. Now, the funny thing is, even if he goes to jail, he will still probably win the presidency. He is leading in all of the important polls, all of the swing state polls. He is up with African American voters. It is ridiculous. He's going to win this. It's just, I'm sorry, that's how it's going to be. I don't like the guy. I think he's kind of a piece of shit. I am put between Donald Trump, who is an egomaniac, sociopath, but hey, at least he can put a fucking coherent sentence together, unlike Joe Biden Weekend at Bernie style. That guy is terrible. Every time I see him, he gets worse and worse and worse. It's just sickening. So, yeah, there we go. We can't have like somebody good, somebody new, somebody young, younger at least, not somebody's not in like their 80s, No, we have to have these two yahoos. And even having said that, you have to open your eye. Even if you hate Donald Trump, you have to open your eyes about how targeted this is and the timing of this. And there's a reason why it's unprecedented. You'll hear the left say it's an unprecedented, trial because nobody's ever done this before. Because they're weaponizing against him. It's like circular, it's circular. They're weaponizing this against him. It's unprecedented, so he must be a criminal. But he hasn't been proven guilty of anything yet because yada yada yada. It just goes round and round and round. So, continuing on, the trial featured allegations that Trump and his allies conspired to stifle potentially embarrassing stories during the 2016 presidential campaign through hush money payments, including to a porn actor. AP News, it's a porn actress. You need to get somebody to proofread your articles. You're a professional publication. Get with it. Fucking rookies. Who alleged that she and Trump had sex a decade earlier, which I actually remember her being on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. She was actually topless when she was giving the interview, and they asked her about famous people that she had slept with, and she said, yeah, there was 3 famous people. Without actually saying the name, you could tell it was Donald Trump that she was talking about, though. She was very obvious about it. And she said that he was the best lover out of those 3 and that he was rather girthy. So when she talks about how he has a little penis, which I think she said before, well, she's lying somewhere, you know. Either he's not girthy or he has a little dick. I don't know. I don't really care about his dick, to be honest. This isn't like Hunter Biden, you know, where everybody's like completely focused on the guy's dick, you know. Nobody cares. This case at its core is about a conspiracy and a cover-up, prosecutor Joshua Steinglass told jurors, who could begin deliberations Wednesday. He later added, we'll never know if this effort to hoodwink voters, I like that word, hoodwink, I'm going to use it in my daily vocabulary, made the difference in the 2016 election. But that's not something we have to prove. It sounds like a bunch of tomfoolery for me. Trump lawyer Todd Blanche told jurors that neither the actor Stormy Daniels nor the Trump attorney who paid her, Michael Cohen, can be trusted. President Trump is innocent. He did not commit any crimes, and the district attorney has not met their burden of proof, period. So, as we continue on with the story, the political undertones of the proceeding were unmistakable as President Joe Biden's campaign staged an event outside the courthouse with actor Robert De Niro, while Blanche reminded jurors that the case was not a referendum on the views about Trump. So you literally have the President of the United States campaign with a mouthpiece of Robert De Niro, famous actor, staging an event outside of the courthouse. What kind of fucking circus do we live in? This First off, I fucking hate it when actors get political. Like, do your job, fucking dance monkey on screen for me. That's what you should do, okay? I don't care who you voted for. I don't care that you hate Donald Trump. I don't care that you want to lecture us all about climate change and then jump in your private jet to fly to fucking the Greek islands so you can have sex with a bunch of hookers or whatever. I don't care. I don't care. Just go act in my movies so I can watch you, which honestly, they all suck now anyways. So get better at that. How about you get better at that and don't worry about the political ramifications of the world and why your opinion means more than mine or anyone else's, because it fucking doesn't. You're a dumbass. Has one good quality about you. You can act. All right. Well, other than that, you know, basically you got one side saying there's a giant conspiracy. The other side is saying your best, your star witnesses are a disgraced porn star and a lying, disbarred lawyer who's also a thief because he stole $10,000 from Trump because he was pissed off because he didn't assign him to a cabinet position, which is probably a good call, seeing as this guy is a corrupt liar. So yeah, that's what you got. That's what you got. I honestly, if they persecute him for this, that's just blatant abuse of the judicial system. But hey, it's New York. Anything can happen. Segue time. Anywho, moving on. Here's a little feel good story. Bob Ross's legacy lives on in the new Joy of Painting series. I remember old Bob Ross. It's very cathartic if you can find an episode of Bob Ross of him, painting. He's just, it doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. You watch a little bit of Bob Ross and it calms you right down. Cathartic is just the word, he's so peaceful with his voice and his tone and makes beautiful art. And then I remember watching and seeing he has this beautiful landscape. I'm like, wow, he's so great. But then he keeps going. The next thing you know, there's a big blob on there. And you're like, oh no, Bob Ross, you fucked up your painting. But no, he didn't. He gives you a sly little smile looking into the camera. And he goes, we're going to make this into a happy little tree or a happy little boulder. And then next thing you know, the painting is even better than what it was before that. And you go, oh, that tricky Bob Ross. You're the best, Bob. Oh, it was so sad that he had to die of cancer. That was back in 1995. I was just a wee lad myself in 1995. Well, back then he had completed 7 paintings to use in season 32 of The Joy of Painting. He was so sick, but he was still working on his next series because he wanted to be able to keep going, said Joan Kowalski, president of Bob Ross Inc. Her parents co-founded the company with Bob Ross. So these works were stored away for almost 3 decades. Certified Bob Ross instructor Nicholas Hankins has studied those 7 paintings and paints them from scratch on camera in The Joy of Painting with Nicholas Hankins, Bob Ross's unfinished season, which started airing this spring in some markets. Let's probably catch it on PBS. What this reminds me of is a completion of, closure for something. There's a book series I'm quite the fan of called The Wheel of Time, where Robert Jordan, there's about 15 books, I think, in the series. And towards the end, I think the last 3 books, he passed away. So he never got to finish them. But he wrote notes on how he wanted them finished, which he then gave to his wife. And after his wife searched, she found a little-known author named Brandon Sanderson of Mistborn fame and other books that he has written. He's kind of made a Marvel universe for fantasy, and they all kind of interact with each other and shit. I don't know. I'm kind of reading into him right now. But he finished those books for Robert Jordan to complete his legacy and to have a sense of, closure. Now, if you've ever seen the Wheel of Time show on Amazon, you might as well just rip your eyeballs out because that show sucks. Sucks a big donkey dick. They should call it Wheel of Woke because that's all it is, just woke agenda bullshit. Let's see how much diversity we can get into it. What really pisses me off about that, because I did read the books, okay, is there is so much diversity in the books. But the reason why there's diversity is because there's regions that people live in, and then those regions interact with each other, and the interaction causes conflict, but, it also, it has a lot of lessons to it. But no, Amazon does the lazy thing. They take, for instance, in the very beginning, all the main characters, they live in this city. They live in this village, and you gotta think of them like Norse people. They're kind of like Norse people. Hardworking people with their hands. the main character looks different than all of them. That's kind of a big deal in the books, that he looks different than everybody else he lives with in the village. Well, in the show, everybody looks different from each other. So it's like, okay, well, might as well just throw that storyline out the fucking window. Anyway, back to it. Wheel of Woke sucks. Don't watch it. Read the books. The books are great. It also reminds me of Dune, the books Dune, and the movies. I know if you've seen Dune 1 and 2, they did a very good job of adapting the books to the movies, I have to say. Probably the best adaptation since the old Lord of the Rings, with Peter Jackson. Well, those books also, Frank Herbert, the author, he died while writing his series, and his son came in and finished it up for him. And while I've only read the first 2 books, and I still need to read the rest, I heard that it's quite the abortion, that his son is a giant failure, and Robert Jordan is rolling in his grave. But I have to read this for myself and find out. Let's loop that back around to Bob Ross. Bob Ross finally gets his completion of his story, of his season, of his 32nd season, where there's finally a justice and closure to it all. And let's all just take a moment and remember how great Bob Ross was. Anywho, the one thing I do like about my 1440 news feed is at the very end, it tells you history, basically the history of the day. So today, what happened in history? Native American athlete Jim Thorpe was born in 1887. Volkswagen founded in Germany in 1937. And don't look too closely at some of those Volkswagens from back then, because you might find a Nazi symbol on them. It's just how it was. It's the times. Yeah, they got past it. Now they make Passats for 16-year-old girls drinking their Frappa-Crappa lattes from Starbucks. So it all worked out. Singer Gladys Knight was born, and poet in 1944. And poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou died in 2014. And here we have a quote from Maya Angelou. If we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. Well, I plan on being bold. Bold in my love for this podcast. And it will strike away the chains of fear of no one listening from my soul. And make it so. I am whole. Don't forget to subscribe to Pizain's podcast, 3 Bozos on the Weekends. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else you watch and listen to your podcasts. We are on social media. Follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and working on a Facebook and a YouTube. That should be coming in the coming weeks. So just search for 3 Bozos, and you'll find us. It's the picture of the 3 evil clowns. That's us. Just go ahead, give us a follow, give us a comment, give us likes, all that good stuff that keeps our spirits up. And I think that's about all I got for you guys today. Yippee-yo, let's go. See ya.